Hello and welcome to Pockenrop. Today I am going to be listing my top 15 singles from the 1980s that reached number one. This is a companion piece to a video I uploaded a few weeks back where I listed my top 10 worst number one singles of the decade. This one's obviously going to be filled with a lot more positivity. My rules are that I tend to only pick one song per artist. That said, there are several artists who I could easily have peppered 2 or 3 songs in the top 15. I will mention those additional songs when I get to that artist's particular favourite of mine. I also use a website called meeple to do my rankings of things. You'll find a link to that in the description below, so you can go and rank your own stuff. So let's look at number 15, and there I placed Eternal Flame by the Bangles from 1989. It's just an absolutely top-notch ballad. It's sung by Susanna Hoffs absolutely brilliantly. It's played fantastically. The Bangles split shortly afterwards, and it's probably their finest track. So I've got friends who had their first wedding dance to Eternal Flame by the Bangles, and they were a little bit embarrassed about it, but they shouldn't have been because it's a really good song. At number 14, I have got Chameleon by Culture Club. Now, I remember this hitting number one in 1983. I would have been 9. I liked it then, I like it now. My kids like it as well and love singing along with that really catchy Karma, 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 Karma Chameleon chorus. It just gets in your brain. It's a great song. Number 13 is quite a seminal song for me. In fact, that was probably the first rock song, proper rock song that I was aware of and liked. And it was Don't Stand So Close to Me by the Police. I also considered Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic and Every Breath You Take, all 3 of which are fantastic number ones. But Don't Stand So Close to Me was my introduction to the band The Police. My first album that I ever bought was Zenyatta Mondata as a result of this single, and the album's not that great. But the single is best-selling single of 1980, and it's absolutely brilliant. But it's not the best of 1980, as you'll see later. Number 12. I've put in Going Underground by The Jam. Again, The Jam had lots of great number one singles in this early part of the decade. It comes from 1980, so as I said, there are better songs from 1980 that I picked and put higher up. I also considered Start, another great song, although they do nick from the Beatles, and Town Called Malice, which they nick from the Supremes. But Going Underground feels to me like the most original thing that they did and got to the top of the charts, and so that's my number 12. At number 11, I have got Bonnie Tyler. Now, I'm not a huge Bonnie Tyler fan, but when she sings Total Eclipse of the Heart by Jim Steinman, it's just the perfect marriage. Freaky video that I do remember from 1983, but the song is pretty timeless. And it's everything that a good Jim Steinman song is. It's a little bit over the top, but not too much that it becomes ridiculous. And Total Eclipse of the Heart is great. Into my top 10. And at number 10, I have placed a song that many would put in their bottom 15, but I thoroughly disagree. I really, really like this song. I always have, ever since I first heard it. I love the video. The video is phenomenal. One of the very best videos of the 80s. It's by this fella here, Sir Paul McCartney, and I have put Pipes of Peace. Absolutely cracking song. This was his only number one under his name alone. Pipes of Peace is a fantastic song. Released in 1983 but hit the top in 84. And some people even class it as a Christmas song because of that video about the 1914 football armistice. Pipes of Peace, number 10. Number 10, I have put my particular favourite number one track by Blondie, and that includes the ones from the 70s, and that's Atomic. When you look at the component parts of Atomic, you think that's so simple. There's so few words in it, and yet when you put the whole thing together, it just works as an entire piece. And it's actually quite complicated. It's quite hard to play. And so it's just a great banging tune as a pop single. Atomic by Blondie. At number 8, I have placed an artist who did not achieve a UK number one single during his lifetime as a solo artist, and it's John Lennon. Now, when John Lennon was murdered in December 1980, demand for his music and his material went sky high, and it led to 3 #1 singles. I have picked the third of those, and that's Woman from the Double Fantasy album. I think it is his best song from his entire solo career. It's easily his most accessible love song. It's not about any particular person, although it's clearly about Yoko, really. But it can be relatable because you could sing that song as a bloke to any woman, and it makes sense. And it's an expression of the regret and sorrow about how you've treated somebody. It's a really good, accessible song. Woman is my pick for number 8. At number 7, I've got The Human League and Don't You Want Me. Now, yes, this song has got some serious flaws. The female vocalist in there is off-key. She's flat when she sings. But the whole package of the song is just brilliant. It gets in your brain. It sticks in the way that a great pop single does. The chorus has stepped outside of the song and become a phrase that gets utilised. It's a fantastic song. Don't You Want Me by The Human League at number 7. My number 6 is a track that many would probably place as their greatest single of the 80s, let alone greatest #1 single, and that's Ghost Town by the Specials from 1981. It's the last thing the Specials in their original incarnation did together, because they were growing to detest each other. And it's tense, it's all about the decline of their home city, but it could have been any home city during the early 80s recession. And I read about it the other day that they apparently recorded it completely separate from each other because they were barely talking. My number 6, Ghost Town from the Specials. Into the top 5, and I have placed a song that reached #1 in 1982, but was originally released in 1978, and it's The Model by Kraftwerk. I really like Kraftwerk. I think they're not only one of the most influential bands there ever been, but they're incredibly accessible considering what they do. And they're a German band, in case you didn't know, but they released all of their albums into English. So they effectively recorded things twice. And The Model was lifted as a B-side from The Man Machine on the track Computer Love. And then all the DJs, etc., kind of flipped it and started playing The Model. And it hit #1, and it's absolutely cracking track. 1982, The Model by Kraftwerk. At number 4, I have placed It's a Sin by the Pet Shop Boys, my favourite Pet Shop Boys track, let alone my favourite #1 of theirs. So Pet Shop Boys had 4 #1s in the 80s, but I was only really ever considering one of them, and this was it. It's probably my favourite of all of the Pet Shop Boys tracks. So it's off the album Actually, which also contained Heart as a #1 single as well. And it's from what was been referred to as their Imperial phase. They were kind of hitting the top with everything. It's gained quite a lot of exposure in the last few weeks because of Russell T Davies' new drama called It's a Sin, related quite closely to the subject matter of the song. But it's a great pop single, and I placed it at number 4. At number 3, I have placed my favourite dance floor filler song from the same era, 1982. It is Come On Eileen by Dexys Midnight Runners. This song just makes me happy. It's just an uplifting, fun, changing tempo. It's great. It's great in a disco when you're at a wedding and the DJ sticks Come On Eileen on. Everybody gets onto the dance floor. It's fantastic. Number 3, Come On Eileen from the Touraye album by Dexys Midnight Runners. At number 2, we have the Queen of the decade. Not Queen, Madonna. And my particular pick for Madonna, although there were several I could have turned to, is Like a Prayer from the Like a Prayer album, her 1989 #1 single. I could have had Papa Don't Preach, I could have had La Isla Bonita, both of which are absolutely fantastic and probably would have both made it into the top 15 if I'd have not applied my single artist, single entry rule. But Like a Prayer, I think, is her finest single, period, let alone what decade. And it's just, again, another slice of perfect pop. Like a Prayer, Madonna at number 2. So what did I put at number 1? Well, if you remember earlier, I said that the Jam was from 1980, and Don't Stand So Close to Me was not my favourite track from 1980. Well, I gave you a blind side, because my favourite track from 1980 and my number 1 is Ashes to Ashes by David Bowie. This took me years to like. Now, mainly because I was 6 when it came out, and that video of them walking along the beach with the truck coming behind them, and it's all kind of strange pink and purpley colours, freaked me out. And it scared me off the song. I was 6, what do you expect? It's with hindsight and knowing music better now and listening to it that I love Ashes to Ashes. And it's not only is it my number 1 of the 1980s singles, it's probably my favourite Bowie song, just ahead of Life on Mars. In fact, I might do a Bowie list at some point of my favourite Bowie songs. But Ashes to Ashes is an absolutely great song, great tune. It kind of bookends his 1970s period perfectly, from Space Oddity with Major Tom all the way through to Ashes, where Major Tom comes back. It's just absolutely fantastic, Ashes to Ashes. My number one of the 1980s. So that's my list. I'd love to know what yours are. Let me know in the comments below. What did I miss off? What would you argue really shouldn't be there? And don't bother arguing about Pipes of Peace. I know some of you don't like it, but you're still wrong. Please like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. You'll see some other videos from my channel that you might like that will appear on the left hand side. Got more content coming soon, but until then, thanks very much for watching and goodbye.